Pastor Timothy immediately requested the assistance of the elders and deacons to attend to Sister Sadia until the paramedics arrived. As concern filled the sanctuary, he asked the congregation to bow their heads in prayer. Together, the church united in faith, asking God to strengthen Sister Sadia, grant her a speedy recovery, and give wisdom to the medical team caring for her. Moments later, the paramedics carefully transported Sister Sadia to the hospital for further evaluation. Once Pastor Timothy was assured that she was in good hands, he thanked the congregation for their prayers, encouraged everyone to remain at peace, and reverently continued the worship service. After the service, Logan and Victoria decided to change clothes and go to lunch to begin discussing their wedding plans. Seated beneath the shade of a beautiful outdoor canopy, they enjoyed a wonderful meal together as they talked about one of the most exciting seasons of their lives. Logan shared the wedding budget he had already set aside and gently smiled as Victoria listened in amazement. He told her that she would only be responsible for purchasing the wedding cake. Everything else, the dress, the venue, decorations, the reception, the flowers, and every other expense would be his responsibility. Victoria looked at him with surprise, then asked, "Are you serious? Are you sure? That's the budget you want to spend?" Logan smiled and replied, "Absolutely. I want you to have the wedding you've always dreamed of. This day only comes once, and I want it to be everything you've imagined." The two laughed together, enjoyed their lunch, and continued sharing ideas about colors, decorations, music, and all the little details that would make their day special and unforgettable. While they were talking, Logan received a phone call from one of the church leaders with an update on Sister Sadia. He had asked the elders and deacons to keep him informed after her medical emergency during the service. The caller happily reported that Sister Sadia's tests were normal, her vital signs were excellent, and the doctors believed she had simply experienced a fainting episode brought on by emotional shock. She had been treated, evaluated, and was expected to make a full recovery. Relieved by the good news, Logan thanked God that Sister Sadia was doing well. He and Victoria offered a brief prayer for her continued recovery before returning to their conversation. After finishing lunch, the two agreed to spend the rest of the day taking care of personal responsibilities. They planned to meet throughout the week to continue preparing for their upcoming wedding. Before they left, Logan looked at Victoria and said, "Whatever your heart desires, I want you to have it. This is your dream wedding, and I want every detail to make you smile." Victoria's heart was overwhelmed with gratitude. She hugged Logan tightly, smiled from ear to ear, and from that moment forward, she joyfully began planning the wedding she had dreamed about for so many years. Monday morning arrived, and Victoria returned to work with a smile she could not hide. As she walked through the office greeting everyone, one of her closest coworkers suddenly stopped her in her tracks. "Wait a minute. What is that on your finger?" Victoria quickly smiled, tucked her hand behind her back, and softly replied, "Meet me in my office in 5 minutes." Within minutes, Tracy and the other ladies hurried into Victoria's office. Before Victoria could even say a word, Tracy grabbed her hand. "Victoria, is this what I think it is?" Victoria smiled and nodded. "Yes," Logan proposed. The room immediately erupted with excitement. The ladies hugged her and squealed with joy and admired the beautiful engagement ring from every angle. Tracy looked at her with mock disbelief and laughed. "So you mean you're going to be my cousin-in-law?" "Excuse me, I'm Logan's cousin. How did everyone else get to know before I did? Victoria laughed right along with them. There really wasn't much to say at that time. Tracy held up Victoria's hand and smiled. Nothing to say, Victoria? This rock says plenty. The office filled with laughter. For the next several minutes, the ladies talked about wedding dresses, flowers, venues, colors, decorations, cakes, and honeymoon destinations. Everyone had an opinion and everyone wanted to help. It was a moment Victoria could never forget. Eventually, everyone returned to their desk, leaving Victoria alone in her office. She leaned back in her chair, looked once more at the beautiful ring on her finger, and quietly reflected on everything God had done for her. Not long ago, she had wondered if marriage was even in God's plan for her. She had endured disappointment, loneliness, unanswered prayers, and seasons where she questioned whether her waiting had any purpose at all. Now, as tears gently filled her eyes, she whispered, Lord, you really do make all things beautiful in your time. She would not allow herself to become so consumed with planning a wedding that she neglected the one who had blessed her with it. Before she chose a venue, a dress, or even a single flower, she opened her planner and scheduled a day of prayer and fasting. She wanted every decision surrounding their marriage to be led by God and not emotion. She closed her planner, smiled to herself, and quietly said, This wedding will glorify God from beginning to end. Then Victoria stood, took a deep breath, and returned to work with a grateful heart, knowing that the best chapter of her life was only just beginning. In the evenings after work, Victoria would walk through her front door with one thing on her mind, her wedding to Logan. She had been spending her afternoons planning her wedding all by herself. Earlier, Logan had gently suggested that she hire a professional wedding planner. Victoria smiled to herself as she spread bridal magazines, color palettes, and notebooks across the table. She appreciated his suggestion, but she already knew exactly what she wanted: every color, every flower, every song, every centerpiece, and every detail had lived in her heart long before Logan ever slipped that beautiful ring onto her finger. Victoria didn't want someone else's vision. She wanted every detail of their wedding to tell their story, the story of God's perfect timing, His faithfulness, and the beautiful journey that had brought them together. With a notebook beside her, inspiration spread across the table, and a heart overflowing with excitement, Victoria gladly accepted the challenge of planning the wedding herself. She was determined to create a day that was elegant, unforgettable, and a true reflection of the love she and Logan shared. The next night, as Victoria finished organizing her notes, her phone rang. A smile immediately spread across her face as she glanced at the screen. Hello, handsome, she answered warmly. I had a feeling you'd be working on the wedding, Logan said with a laugh. Victoria looked around at the bridal magazines, flower samples, color swatches, and pages of notes scattered across the table. You know me, she replied. Once I start something, I have to finish it. How's it going? Logan asked. Victoria sighed before laughing. Well, let's just say planning a wedding is a little bit more complicated than I thought. I'm discovering there are hundreds of florists, decorators, venues, and suppliers. Everybody says they're the best, and the prices are all over the place. I told you to get a wedding planner, Logan said playfully. Victoria laughed. And you were right. To a point. Oh? Logan replied. I still want to plan our wedding myself. I don't want someone else making all the decisions, but I think I'll take your advice and hire a wedding planner as a guide. Someone who already knows the best vendors, where to find quality flowers, beautiful decor, and the best prices. That way, I can still make all the decisions, but I won't have to spend weeks trying to figure out where everything comes from. Logan smiled. Now that sounds like the Victoria I know, wise enough to lead, but humble enough to accept a little help. Victoria smiled as she looked down at her notebook. I guess God gave me you for more than just loving me. And I'll keep reminding you of that, Logan replied with a chuckle. The two laughed together for a few more minutes, talking about flowers, guest lists, and all of the little details that make a wedding special. Finally, Logan said, All right, my beautiful fiancé, it's getting late. You have to work in the morning. Victoria smiled. You're right. I was just about to put everything away. I love you, Victoria. I love you too, Logan. Sleep well. You too. Good night. As she ended the call, Victoria smiled to herself, closing her notebook and quietly thanked God once again. With peace in her heart and excitement for the days ahead, she began putting away her wedding plans, already looking forward till tomorrow. After ending her call with Logan, Victoria quietly gathered her notebook and wedding ideas before making her way to the one place where she always found peace, her secret place. As she knelt before the Lord, she bowed her head and began to pour out her heart. Father, thank you for bringing me to this season in my life. Thank you for your faithfulness, your mercy, and for answering prayers I once cried with tears. As she paused for a moment before continuing, she said, Lord, I ask that you cover every part of this journey. Cover Logan, cover me, cover our families, our homes, our wedding plans, and our future together. Let nothing distract us from your perfect will. Victoria continued to pray. Father, I come against every assignment of the enemy, every distraction, every misunderstanding, every delay, every attack, every spirit of confusion or division. I cancel it in the name of Jesus. Let no weapon formed against what you have ordained prosper. Her voice grew softer as she continued. Lord, prepare me to be the wife you've called me to be. Teach me how to love with patience, to speak with wisdom, to serve with humility, and to honor you in every decision I make, removing anything in me that doesn't look like you, and continue to shape my heart. Tears filled her eyes as she smiled. I don't just want a beautiful wedding, Father. I want a beautiful marriage. I want a home where your presence dwells, where peace lives, where forgiveness is quick, where love never fails, and where you're always welcome. Victoria remained there for several more moments, worshiping, listening, and simply enjoying the presence of God. When she finally rose from her knees, her heart was at peace. She knew that the same God who had written her love story would faithfully guide every chapter that was still to come. Later that night, after her time in prayer, Victoria climbed into bed with her heart full of peace. As she closed her eyes, her mind drifted back to the bamboo. The last time she had a thought about it, only a tiny shoot had pushed its way through the ground. Now it stood nearly 5 feet tall, quietly reminding her that growth never happens by accident. She remembered her grandmother said that at this stage, bamboo is no longer simply breaking through the surface, it's strengthening its stalk, spreading its leaves, and continuing to deepen the root system that will support the incredible height it has yet to reach. Victoria smiled. She realized God was doing the very same thing in her life. He wasn't simply preparing her for a wedding, he was strengthening her faith, deepening her character, teaching her to trust him more completely, and establishing a foundation that would sustain the marriage he was giving her. Every prayer, every lesson, every season of waiting, every disappointment, and every victory had not been wasted. They had all become a part of the root system God was developing beneath the surface. The bamboo wasn't finished growing, and neither was she. And just as God had been faithful to bring the bamboo this far, Victoria rested in knowing he would be faithful to complete the beautiful work he had begun in her life. With a grateful heart and complete confidence in God's timing, Victoria closed her eyes and peacefully drifted off to sleep. Before we end today's episode, we need your help. Victoria has officially said yes. Now comes one of the most exciting parts of her journey, finding the perfect wedding dress. Before we end today's episode, we need your help. Victoria has officially said yes. Now comes one of the most exciting parts of her journey, finding the perfect wedding dress. And we've decided to let you be a part of this special moment. In the upcoming episodes, Victoria will begin shopping for her dream gown, and we'd love for you to shop right alongside her. So we need your help. We are asking our viewers to kindly send in pictures, be it to my WhatsApp, and if you don't have my WhatsApp, you can go ahead and add it into the comments. The dress you think Victoria should wear. I will choose the one that I like the most of all the entries that are sent in, and that will be the dress that Victoria wears. As always, thank you for being a part of Logan and Victoria's journey. We truly appreciate every view, every like, every comment, and every share. If you are enjoying this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And be sure to turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. Until next time, remember, delay is not denial, it's only preparation. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.